Welcome back, everyone. Before the break, we were laying the groundwork,
Yeah.
exploring the evolution of money and how Bitcoin stands apart from traditional currencies. It's mind-blowing to think that this digital currency could actually upend the entire financial system. It
I know.
really makes you question everything you thought you knew about money.
It does. That's the beauty of these deep dives. We're
Yeah.
challenging assumptions and exploring these new possibilities.
Yeah.
And remember, Bitcoin isn't just about technology, it's about power control and who gets to shape the future of our financial world.
Okay, so let's talk about that future.
Yeah.
Our sources paint a picture of a world where Bitcoin encourages saving and hard work over consumption and speculation. It sounds almost too good to be true. Is that really possible? I mean, right now it seems like the system rewards those who are good at playing the financial game, not those who are actually creating real value.
You've hit on a key point. Our current system often prioritizes short-term gains and speculation.
Mm,
But think about it. If money is harder to come by, it actually holds its value over time.
yeah.
Like Bitcoin is designed to do. The incentives start to shift. Suddenly saving and investing for the long term become much more attractive.
So instead of chasing the next get-rich-quick scheme,
Right.
people would be more focused on building businesses,
Hmm?
creating jobs, contributing to the real economy. That's
Yeah.
pretty compelling vision.
It is. And it gets to the heart of why Bitcoin is so intriguing.
Yeah.
It's not just about making money, it's about reshaping our values and priorities as a society.
Now, our sources bring up another fascinating aspect of Bitcoin. Its potential as collateral. I have to admit, this is where I start to get a little lost.
Mm-hmm.
Can you explain how Bitcoin can be used as collateral and why that's such a big deal?
Think about traditional forms of collateral like real estate or stocks.
Okay.
There's a lot of paperwork, uncertainty, and trust involved.
Yeah.
Ownership can be disputed, values can fluctuate, and the process of verifying and transferring ownership can be incredibly cumbersome.
Well, you're telling me anyone who's ever bought a house or dealt with inheritance knows what a headache that could be.
Exactly. But with Bitcoin, everything is recorded on a public immutable blockchain.
Okay.
Ownership is clear, transactions are transparent, and the process of transferring ownership is relatively simple and secure. This eliminates a lot of the friction and risk that's inherent in traditional forms of collateral.
So it's like having a global digital ledger
Exactly.
that everyone can trust. That's pretty revolutionary.
Yeah.
Our source even suggests that Bitcoin could become the supreme collateral, potentially replacing traditional markets for currencies, stocks, and other assets. That's a pretty bold claim.
It is bold, but it highlights the disruptive potential of Bitcoin.
Yeah.
It could reshape not just monetary systems, but the entire financial landscape.
Wow, that's a lot to process. We've talked about Bitcoin as money as collateral.
Uh-huh.
Our sources also suggest that it could lead to lower time preferences, meaning people would be more inclined to save and invest for the future. This seems to connect back to the idea of shifting values and priorities.
You're right. It all ties together in a world where money holds its value over time. There's less incentive to spend it immediately. Suddenly, delayed gratification becomes more appealing.
So instead of that instant gratification, buy now, pay later mentality that we see so often today,
Yeah.
we might actually start thinking more about the long term.
Exactly. Bitcoin encourages delayed gratification, which is associated with long-term thinking, financial stability, and more sustainable economic practices.
That's pretty exciting.
Yeah.
But let's not get ahead of ourselves. There are also potential downsides to a Bitcoin-centric world. Our sources acknowledge that some people view Bitcoin as a threat, and there are valid concerns about its impact on governments and traditional financial institutions.
It's crucial to acknowledge these concerns while Bitcoin offers many potential benefits.
Right.
It also poses challenges and risks that we need to consider carefully.
Hmm.
For example, if Bitcoin were to become the dominant form of money, what would happen to governments' ability to manage their economies?
Yeah,
They would lose control over monetary policy as we know it.
that's a big one. And what about the potential for Bitcoin to exacerbate wealth inequality? If only a small percentage of the population holds Bitcoin and its value keeps rising, wouldn't that further concentrate wealth in the hands of the few?
Those are valid concerns, and they highlight the importance of accessibility and education. We need to make sure that the benefits of Bitcoin are distributed broadly, not just concentrated among the tech-savvy or the wealthy.
It sounds like the transition to a Bitcoin-based monetary system, if it were to happen,
Yeah.
would be complex and potentially turbulent.
Absolutely. There are many unknowns, and the consequences, both positive and negative, are far-reaching.
So where do we go from here? What can our listeners take away from all of this?
The future of money is still being written, and
Yeah.
Bitcoin is one of the most fascinating and controversial chapters in this unfolding story. It's a technology that demands our attention, our critical thinking, and our willingness to engage in thoughtful debate about the kind of financial system we want to create for ourselves and future generations.
Welcome back, deep divers. We've explored the evolution of money, the rise of Bitcoin, and the potential upsides and downsides of this revolutionary technology. Now, the million-dollar question: what does the future of money hold?
Ah, the big one. And like any prediction about the future, it's a bit of a mystery.
Our sources seem pretty confident that we're heading toward a Bitcoin-centric world, but honestly, is that something we should be excited about, or should we be a little wary?
I think a healthy dose of both is in order. Bitcoin offers this incredible vision of a decentralized, transparent, and potentially more equitable financial system. But let's not forget that any major shift comes with its own set of challenges and risks.
Okay, so let's play devil's advocate for a moment.
Yeah.
What could go wrong? What are some of the potential downsides of a Bitcoin-dominated world?
Volatility is a major concern. Bitcoin's price has been known to swing wildly, which would make it tough to use for everyday transactions. Imagine going to the grocery store and the price of milk changes drastically every few minutes because it's pegged to Bitcoin.
Yeah, talk about a budgeting nightmare. Stability is definitely key for any currency to really work.
Exactly. Another issue is complexity. Bitcoin isn't exactly user-friendly. For the average person, managing private keys and understanding blockchain technology can be pretty intimidating if you're not tech savvy.
It's like trying to learn a whole new language.
In a way it is, and we can't ignore the environmental impact of Bitcoin mining. The amount of energy it takes to secure the network is a legitimate concern for many people.
So there are some serious hurdles to overcome. But let's look at the flip side. What would a Bitcoin-powered world look like at its best? What are the potential benefits that we could actually experience?
Imagine a world where you have true control over your own wealth. You can send and receive money instantly and securely anywhere in the world without relying on banks or intermediaries, and all of those transactions are transparent and much harder to manipulate.
Okay, now that sounds pretty amazing. But is it realistic? Can we really shift to a system that's so radically different from what we're used to?
Well, a complete utopia might be a stretch, but Bitcoin does offer a glimpse of a future where financial power is more evenly distributed and where individuals have greater agency over their economic lives. It's a powerful idea that's worth exploring.
Our sources also suggest that Bitcoin could usher in an era of lower time preferences, encouraging people to save and invest for the long term, rather than focusing on short-term gains.
It's a fascinating concept. If money holds its value over time, there's less incentive to spend it right away. People would be more inclined to save and invest, which could lead to greater economic stability and prosperity for everyone.
It's almost like hitting the reset button on our economic values, shifting away from that consumerist mindset that's become so ingrained in our culture.
It's a powerful idea, and it shows how intertwined our financial systems are with our values as a society.
So what's the bottom line for our listeners? What should they take away from this deep dive into the future of money?
The future is uncertain, and Bitcoin is just one piece of a much larger puzzle. But it's a piece that's shaking things up and forcing us to rethink everything we thought we knew about money, whether you're a Bitcoin enthusiast, a skeptic, or simply curious. It's important to stay informed and engaged.
We've covered a lot of ground today, and it's clear that the future of money is anything but settled. But one thing's for sure: Bitcoin has sparked a wave of innovation and debate that will continue to shape the financial landscape for years to come. Now, here's a final thought for you to ponder. If Bitcoin does succeed in becoming a dominant form of money, what would that mean for you personally? How would it change your financial decisions, your savings habits, even your outlook on the future? I encourage you to dig deeper into these questions and explore the source material we discussed today. Until next time, keep diving deep.